I will leave my adoptive family overnight. All I will leave them is a letter. I, 18M, was adopted by a family when I was 5. I don't know my biological parents. The family already had 3 children, 3 girls. Apparently, after the first girl, they tried for a boy, but it always ended up being a girl. So after 3 girls, they adopted me to finally have a son. In the first few years of my life, they treated us all well. However, my sisters were never able to accept me. They saw me as an outsider who didn't belong to the family. Actually, it was the oldest one, Alicia, who poisoned the other 2, Maria and Juliet, against me by telling them that our parents would treat me better because I was a boy, which wasn't true. In fact, all 3 of them protested against me getting a room on the same floor as them, and my parents gave in. There was a spare room in the basement where I had to sleep from then on. This, however, just led to them making fun of me, calling me names like cellar rat and many more things. I just shrugged it off, assuming that's how siblings treated each other. But I realized that having my sleeping room in the basement somehow also affected the way my parents treated me. Sleeping down there felt like I was out of sight for them. They lost interest in me, and I became less significant and important. While on the other hand, they started to focus more on my sisters. When I was 13, they completely lost interest in me. It was like I was a homeless person living in the basement. They missed all the appointments I had. They didn't care about my grades. They never even called me to eat. Sometimes I would come upstairs and see how they had already taken away the plates. If I was lucky, there were leftovers that I could eat. Do you think I got presents for my birthday? No, because they didn't even know my birthday in the first place. And last Christmas, they said they forgot to buy presents for me, saying they would go shopping with me the next few weeks to get me something, which, as you might expect, never happened. I don't feel despised towards my sisters. I'm glad they have a home where they are cared for and that they can feel loved. I just don't understand why they would adopt me if they just throw me away like a piece of paper. I think they just wanted to have this feeling of having a son for some time, but then realized they could never love me like one of their own. And putting me in the basement was the last straw. That is when they completely banished me from their minds. And I just can't do this anymore. I decided to pack my things and leave. I will do it tonight. I will stay at a friend's house for a while and try to look for a job that will hopefully get me enough money so that I can rent an apartment. And after that, I will never look back. I decided to leave a letter behind in my room. I wouldn't be surprised if they never even find it, let alone notice that I'm gone. I'm using a throwaway for this, but I actually don't know why. I thought I didn't want them to see this, but now that I think about it, I could send them this post. I don't know why I'm even writing this in here in the first place. I feel so desperate. Maybe I want this because I hope that someone is interested in me and my story.
OP, I can't describe how heartbreaking this is. I went through something similar with my biological parents once they had the son they wanted. I'm so sorry you had to go through it as well. I know I'm some stranger rando on the net, but you have all the warmth I could offer and well wishes. That place might not have been home, but I'm positive you'll be able to make one so long as you continue forward.
Make sure you take your birth certificate and social security card when you go. You'll need them. Also, your high school diploma if you've graduated. Get a post office box for mail so you can have things sent to you in one place if paper mail, so you don't have to worry that you can't get mail.
I agree with everything people are writing here. You can go online and for $1 or $2, you can have all mail in your name forwarded to your new address. And just like others have said, get everything that relates to your identity. I wish you well, and I hope you check back here to see the support many have offered. Please keep us updated because, unlike your current family, we do care. I have a cousin who is adopted, and I've always treated and loved him like my brother. No child should ever go through that which you have. As far as being on your own, there are so many jobs in the marketplace right now where you can build a career and at least become self-sufficient. Think of employers who also pay for college. UPS has a major hub in my city, and they will pay a decent wage as well as cover tuition for higher education. Stay focused and driven. then you can achieve anything. I wish you luck out there. Learn and grow from every experience you've had and will have in the years to come. Don't allow hate to fill your mind. Instead, try to focus on how you will live a different life than what was taught to you. Okay, enough of my dad talk. Seriously, man, take care of yourself and stay safe. Family is what and who you make it with. Please post back to let us know you're okay again. We care.
Please tag me in an update. I'm very invested. I'm in a similar state. I would love to know what happens after, and if there's anything I need to be aware of because I'm planning to do it soon too. Nonetheless, I can say you're not alone. I may not be adopted, so unfortunately you have that extra pain, however. I feel neglected and I need that extra attention to suffice for when I had most of it given away to a growing divorce and other kids as a kid myself. So please let me know how it goes. I'm interested. I'm desperate too.
So sad. Wish I could be your mama.
I would like an update, too. So many of us don't know you, but we care about you. I'm so glad that you love yourself enough to know that you matter, and to get out of that situation. Much love and success and happiness to you.
I am so sorry this happened to you. I think it's good you are getting out of that. I hope you find friends that are like family that can fill that void for you. I wish I could help in some way. I wish people like that would sit and think about the life they are about to affect and the person they are about to hurt if they do not treat them as their own. I wish the best for you. I hope you find that not everybody is that cold and careless.
Yeah, honestly, that's what pisses me off most. They neglected him and never treated him like a real son and still had the nerve to not only adopt him but let him live like that. Why adopt him if they won't pay attention to him? People like that don't deserve children. I don't care if they took good care of their daughters. You're a horrible parent if you put any child's health and happiness over another one.
Trying to look on the bright side, at least he wasn't physically abused, but I realized neglect is just as bad.
I am a 40-year-old now, but started from a really low place too. I am happy, healthy, and loved even though the start was very similar to what you are about to do. I'm sorry you didn't get a fair start, but know that you can succeed even without them behind you because often the people behind you hold you back from what could have been amazing. Go find the life you want and don't stop until you are happy.
I would recommend you have a look on Google to find out what help you would be able to access. You will definitely not be the only child in the care system that was left to fend for themselves at 18. I'm in the UK, and care leavers like yourself are able to get help with accommodation. The government provides them with their own home so they can be safe.
I also want to say that I am very proud of you for trying to seek a better life for yourself. I wasn't adopted like you were. I was instead manipulated along with my mother into a kinship adoption situation by my father. My parents split up when I was an infant, and my father literally made me and my mom homeless. My father walked away from us, immigrated to another country, and never looked back. I spent my early childhood not even knowing that I had a father. However, when I was 7, my father had a change of heart. He reached out to my mom, claiming he wanted to get to know me and actually be a father to me. It was a load of bullshit that me and my mom and I fell for. Basically, my father had reached the point in his life where everyone he knew, including all his siblings, had children. He started to feel like he wanted to fit in, so he reached out to my mom so he could gain access to me, his trophy child. My father convinced me and my mom that I should move to the UK to live with him so I could have a better life when I was 10 years old. My mom and I believed his lies since we were living in poverty in a third world country. The minute I moved in with my father, my life became hell. My father would do parently things like take me to school and pick me up, but that was it. He would ignore my existence for 80% of the time. His wife was responsible for feeding me, and she was the one I spent most of my time with. She pretty much hated me and treated me like I was an unwelcome guest in her house. I had spent most of my time locked away in my room to avoid being a pest to my stepmother.
Growing up, I was lucky I even had fresh food to eat since my stepmother only cooked once every 4 days. My father only ever paid attention to me when he needed a child to show off at family gatherings, or he needed a punching bag for his stress. Between my stepmother and my father, I grew up in a house without love and spent most of my time in my small room with only the strangers I met on online gaming for company.
I ran away from home at 25. Even though my father didn't actually care about me, he refused to let go of his show child, especially after he forced me to go to university to become a lawyer. He refused to let me move out of our family home, even though he himself moved out to get remarried and have another child. He needed to have me under his control so he could drag me to family gatherings and brag to people he knew that his eldest child was a lawyer.
Running away was the best thing I did for myself. I didn't have friends that I could live with, so I reached out to an organization that helps women with abusive family members. I didn't have savings or a job, but the government paid for me to stay in a shelter, gave me spending money, and helped me find a place where I could live on my own. It's been 5 years, and I have never regretted the decision I made to cut ties from my father and his ex-wife.
OP, I'm sure things will work out for you too. Just don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
I'm so sorry, honey. They never should have treated you like that. They completely failed you, and you did absolutely nothing to deserve it. Run away and never look back. I hope you get out safe and that you stay safe. Please update us when you do. Hoping for only the best for you going forward.
The update. I didn't expect to give you an update so quickly, but in the brief time span between my post yesterday and this one, so many things happened that I have to update you right now. Let's start by what happened yesterday. First of all, I never expected my post to blow up like this. This is absolutely insane. I tried to read all of your comments and answer all direct messages, but it's just too many. So I'm sorry if I ignored you. Many of you had great advice, such as taking all my documents with me and going to the police, which I wanted to do today. Let's go through everything that happened chronologically. After reading through many comments, I decided to take my documents with me. So, in the evening before my adoptive parents went to bed, I snuck into their bedroom and took all documents that I could find and waited for nightfall. I packed my things and left when all of them were asleep. Everything went as planned. I silently left the house and went to my best friend's home. He had an apartment in a neighboring city, so I had to walk for a while. I arrived at his apartment between 2 and 3 a.m. He had a spare bedroom that he used for visitors who might want to stay for the night. We agreed that I could live with him as long as I want. He only expected me to find a job quickly, and if I do that, he wants me to help him pay the rent for it. I was fine with that. I slept through the night, and in the morning, I started looking for jobs immediately. But now, a few hours into the morning, something more than interesting happened. While I was on his laptop still looking through the online job advertisements and collecting them, the doorbell rang. He opened the door, and I heard a familiar voice. But it wasn't one of my parents. It was one of my sisters, Maria to be exact, the middle sister. I heard how she asked if I was here. He wanted to lie for me, but I decided to talk to her to find out what she wanted. So, I appeared behind him, and she went, "Thank God you're here," and hugged me. I was completely overwhelmed and surprised and didn't know what to say. Then she told me how she found me, and this is where things get more interesting. She told me that this morning, a way too familiar-sounding story appeared on her TikTok For You page. Apparently, my story was shared by a TikTok account that actually had a quite big audience. She became even more suspicious when her and her sister's names were also mentioned. To be sure about the situation, she went into the basement and into my room where she found the room mostly empty. And, of course, my letter. I mentioned in the story that I would stay with a friend, so she went out looking for me, telling our parents she was about to visit a friend. She said she drove to 2 different houses before finding the correct address. She apparently visited 2 other friends of mine before finding the correct apartment. Apparently, she also took the letter with her. She said she hasn't showed them the letter yet, and wanted to talk to me first. No one besides her knew where I was or what I did last night. She apologized to me and offered to talk with her on my side to our parents. She explained that the way I talked about her in the original post made her feel bad. She said she never hated me or anything. She admitted that she also protested against me having a room on their floor, but just because of Alicia's influence on her and because she believed her lies when she was younger. Now that I think about it, unlike Alicia and Juliet, she never called me bad names. She said that Juliet probably is just insufferable because of how Alicia manipulated her. She said she never realized how badly I was treated. She never gave a second thought about me because Alicia spread rumors that I was just very socially awkward and overall didn't like any of them, and that I would just lock myself inside the basement like the worst introvert and all of that. And as a reason for her claims, she just reminded them that I was adopted, and that is why I would try to make myself the outsider. I said to her that this might explain why she and Juliet might have been like that to me, but not why my parents would have behaved that way. She replied that she also can just make claims here without any proof, but she thinks it's because even between them, Alicia is the golden child as the firstborn. Her and Juliet are only the failed attempts of them having a boy. And her being the golden child made it easier for her to manipulate both of them into believing the lies she told them. Then she said that she knows that Mom and Dad would be pretty easy to manipulate if you know how. And then she gave me 4 options. 1. I could come with her right now and talk with her to my parents. 2. She would let me think about it and leave, but not tell my parents. 3. I refused to go back with her entirely, but she would tell them about the letter without telling them where to find me. 4. I refused to go back with her entirely, but she would pretend to not know anything, but maybe stay in contact with me. I picked option 2, and she gave me her number. She said that if I decide to give them a chance, she would support me, but she would understand if I refused to. And now we are here. I don't know what to do. I would lie if I say I wasn't tempted to give them a chance, but on the other hand, if it's true that Alicia is the one behind all of that, I don't know if I want to deal with her again.
She gave you her number? That shows just how messed up the family dynamic is if you don't even have your siblings' numbers. Holy ish. I honestly don't know what I'd do in your shoes, but I hope you'll be all right.
Her motivation is very suspicious too. It's pretty typical in abusive families for a kid to take on the role of peacemaker enabler to smooth things over for the abusers. That's definitely what we are seeing here. Making excuses for the abusers promises to try to manipulate the parents to stop abusing OP. Her goal is to return everything back to normal. That's why the sudden interest in OP, whose phone number she doesn't even have.
It is because she is on the second from the bottom step of the family hierarchy ladder. With OP gone, she will be assigned the title of the most despicable in the family. Of course, she doesn't want it and wants OP back.
In my opinion, I think you should stay with your friend and stick to your original plan. As for your sister, if you are ready to have a relationship with her, you should do so. She seems to have realized her mistakes. That's a first step. But as far as your parents are concerned, I don't know if it's really worth trying. From what you've said, their interest seems to be in Alicia. Trying to talk to them could hurt you a lot. The wound is still fresh. I hope everything goes well for you.